Hi everyone, this is William from the Headphone Experience. I'm here tonight with my full review of the Deep Core 1800 power conditioner from Core Power Technologies. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for being away for about 5 weeks. I had some personal issues I needed to take care of. I actually put a video out a couple days ago with kind of the longer version of it, but for tonight, the short version is I lost my mother back on November 11th, had to take some time off, and about a week ago I was getting ready to start back up with my videos, and I was bitten by a sick cat that appeared to maybe have rabies, and had to begin rabies treatment. And in fact, tomorrow I go in for my 3rd rabies shot, but I'm actually feeling pretty good, so I'm going to try to get this video out tonight. And actually, about 5 weeks ago, I was working on this video when all this happened, and I was putting together my notes. I was getting ready to do it. I was at most a day away from shooting it, so my apologies to Core Power Technologies for taking so long to get this video out. And actually, Core Power Technologies is owned by Underwood Hifi, and they are the ones that loaned this to me, and I appreciate their patience. So anyway, what this is it's described by Core Power Technologies as being a power processor and surge protector, and it also it removes EMI interference, RFI interference from your power supply, and it's supposed to remove DC voltage from your AC lines. This is actually meant to be used in front of a power conditioner. This is sort of a pre-power conditioner that pre-cleans your power before it goes into your power conditioner. So you can either use this with a power conditioner that you already have, or you can use it with one of the power conditioners from Core Power Technologies, such as the EquiCore 600, which I have with me that I've been testing along with this. And I did a first impressions video 2 months ago which included both. But I was asked to do a separate full review on this because some people may already have a power conditioner that they're happy with, and they could buy this alone and use this with their existing power conditioner. So anyway, this currently sells for $1,295, and I'll give you a closer look here. It's basically about 8 inches square, about 5 1/4 inches tall. Weighs about 7 pounds. On the rear you have 2 outlets. You have your AC power input here, and you have what's called DC contour control, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. This did come with a power cord. It does, for that price. This here, I believe, is an optional upgrade cable. And this thing is pretty extreme. It's what is it? It's about close to 6 feet long, but very heavy. I don't know what the gauge of this is, and this is a pretty substantial cord. This does, my understanding though, this does not come stock. This is an optional upgrade, and I'm not sure about the price. They did have some prices and some details about the cables. This, I believe, is the Gold Series cable, but I looked on Underwood's website last night and didn't see any prices on the cable, so I'm not sure what it costs to get this as an upgrade. But anyway, what I did with this, and originally I did my first impressions with this and the EquiCore 600 both. And the results were outstanding. The combination is incredible, but I wanted to test this separately and see what this would do without the EquiCore. So what I did is, first of all, I have 2 different, well really 3 different power conditioners if you count the one I use for video. For audio, I'm currently using, I've got a couple Monster power supply conditioners. One is the HDP 2500 and the other is the HTS 5100. And I've got most of my audio equipment plugged into one or the other of those. What I did, and obviously what I'm looking for is, does the power conditioner remove noise, grunge, background hiss, anything like that from the power supply? Well, basically I have a pretty clean power supply. I never even really thought I needed a power conditioner. The reason for the Monster power supplies were more for the surge protection, because we do have a lot of power surges here, and I had a lightning strike on a transformer several years ago that took out electronics all over my house. So that's the main reason. I never really thought I needed a power conditioner. I assumed my power was clean because I am on my own transformer. There's no other houses on the transformer that I'm on. And, I don't really have much that I think is adding noise, and I considered my power to be clean and quiet. Well, when I did hook these up, I did realize that there was a difference. The background did get a little bit blacker, which in turn allows you to hear more of the micro details of the music. And I didn't want to come on here and just say, well, the background's blacker and, try to make a big deal out of that. I mean, it is a big deal, but I didn't want to sit here for 5 minutes talking about a blacker background. So what I did is I actually set up a few experiments to try to find out exactly what this was doing. So what I did is I started out by finding the amp that I had that had the most background noise. And in most cases, that's going to be your amp with the most gain. Okay, I have and it's an amp I've recommended for a long time. It's the Emotiva A100 Bass X amp. Basically a 50 watt per channel speaker amp that by placing some jumpers inside, you can put the full 50 watts into 8 ohms into the headphone output on the front of the amp, which works out to about 12.5 watts per channel into 32 ohms. So that's an outrageous amount of power at the headphone output. But what usually comes along with that kind of power output is you amplify the background noise along with the signal, and you get a lot of hiss. And that headphone amp, I cannot use it with efficient headphones such as the Grotto SR80. There's always hiss in the background, even with the volume knob all the way down, there is hiss. So what I did is I used that amp because basically if I get into my higher end amps, like say my Audio GD Master 9, at normal listening levels, there's not really any background noise in it, not enough to really notice. So I did an experiment by taking the Emotiva with the jumpers installed, and which gives it very high gain, and then I used a very sensitive headphone, the Grotto SR80E, which is also quite bright in the upper mid-range and treble, which if there are background noises, interference, that's where you're most likely to going to hear these noises. So that was the setup that I would be able to hear any background interference, any noise at all, any garbage in my electric supply. So what I did is I took the amp and used a 15-foot extension cable and put it on the Grottos. Then I walked around, turned on the amp, not with any music, but I turned on the amp and turned it up to a volume where I was starting to hear the background hiss. And I walked around the room and turned things on and off to see what caused interference that I could hear. And the first thing, and I mentioned this in my first impressions video, is that I have some LED track lights in my bedroom where my equipment is, and those definitely cause background noise and interference. And up until I had the Core Power Technologies filter or power conditioners, I always had to make a point before I did any critical listening at all, or even any just serious listening. I had to make sure those track lights were off because they created a noticeable amount of background noise. So what I did, well, you know, with these headphones on, the extension cable, I went over, turned on the lights, and well, first I did it without the deep core and just using my Monster power supply. So that's how I set this up. At first I used just the Monster power supply, then I added the deep core as a preconditioner before the Monster power supply to see if it made a difference. And so what I did is I went over and messed around with the switch to my track lights, and they are on a dimmer switch. Okay, as soon as I turn them on, I can hear some background noise. The higher I turn the lights, the brighter, the louder the noise gets. And it's quite noticeable just through the Monster power supply. I then tried it with the Deep Core 1800 in front of the power supply, and it significantly reduced the noise. It didn't get rid of it completely, but I would say it cut it to at least cut it in half, down, you know, substantially lower than the noise was before, probably half as loud. Okay, I did sort of the same experiment with a ceiling fan I have in the bedroom. I've got a wall switch that has a speed control on it, and without the Deep Core 1800, just the Monster power supply, when I clicked the fan on, there was a noticeable pop. And then there was, when the ceiling fan was running, there was definitely a background, kind of a hum in the background. And it has 4 different speeds. The faster the speed, the louder the hum got. And each time I switched between one speed to another or turned the fan off, there was a pop. Once again, if I installed the Deep Core 1800 in front of the Monster power supply, it basically cut the level of this noise in half. Okay, I also have some halogen lights in my bedroom on my headboard, and when I would turn them on, it would definitely create a hum in the background. Same thing, when I placed the Deep Core 1800 before the Monster power supply, basically cut the level of that hum in half. I will be doing a full review of the EquiCore 600, and I can tell you right now the combination of the two, the Deep Core 1800 and the EquiCore 600, pretty much completely eliminates all of these noises, but I will get to that in my next review. Something else I did, and I know this is a headphone channel, but these units are a power conditioner that's used for either audio or video, so I decided to try it out as a video power conditioner. I currently have a Samsung 75-inch 4K TV. It's actually a pretty good TV. It's the Q80 series. The exact model number is the QN75 Q80R. And I'm using a Sony 4K Blu-ray player, and as a power conditioner, I'm using a Furman PST 8D. D is in Delta power conditioner, and I've been very happy with it. It has an outstanding picture, and for my test I was using some 4K Blu-ray disc from the BBC, some sort of nature wildlife thing, and probably the best looking 4K video I've seen. So anyway, what I did is I tried my TV the way I usually watch it, using the Furman power conditioner, and then I watched the same thing again, putting the Deep Core 1800 in front of the Furman power conditioner. Okay, it's a little bit hard to compare because it wasn't like I had two TVs side by side that I could look at and see the difference. That would have made it much easier. But I don't have two TVs, I don't have two 4K Blu-ray players. There was no way I could do that. So basically, I had to unplug the TV, or I had to unplug the Furman power supply from the wall, then plug it into this. Then I had to turn the TV back on, I had to turn the Blu-ray player back on, and get back to where I was watching it. So I'm talking like a 5-minute delay. So, you know, video like audio, it's hard to store it in your memory and remember exactly what it looked like. But I'm pretty sure that there was a difference in the picture. Using the DeepCore 1800, it just looked a little bit better to me than what I could remember. And I've been using this TV a long time, and to me it seemed a little bit better. Not being able to compare two TVs side by side, it's hard to tell exactly why, but I believe that the picture was slightly sharper. I believe that the colors were slightly more vivid, and I believe that the picture looked slightly more three-dimensional, like it had a little bit more depth. You know, I'm not talking a huge difference, but I think it was enough to notice. I think if I would have had two TVs side by side, I could have noticed the difference. I mean, to me, it did look a little better. So this thing seems to work. You know, it's doing its job. It's doing what it needs to do with both audio and video. I did want to mention, and I didn't really get into this in the first impressions video because I wasn't really sure yet what it did. You've got a DC contour knob on the back. And basically what Core Power Technology suggests is you just make fine adjustments with this and put it to where you think it sounds the best. And it does sound a little bit different turning it side to side. It took me a little bit of time to figure out exactly what the difference is. But now, from what I see, if I turn it one way, the background gets a little bit blacker, a little bit, you know, more empty of, you know, any background sounds or anything. But if I turn it the other way, the sound seems to be a little bit more dynamic, slightly more dynamic, a little bit more punch to it. So basically, what you do, you know, is you can adjust it back and forth to find that happy medium where you like it the best. And, you know, I've been somewhere kind of in the middle with it, you know, mid-range, but, you know, that might be different from one person to another. One way it's a little bit blacker backgrounds, the other way a little bit more dynamic sound, so I guess it's, you know, kind of what is more important to you. But anyway, yeah, this thing, you know, at first I wasn't sure I wanted to do a review of a power conditioner because first I didn't think I really needed one. I figured my power was clean enough, I didn't need it, but I did need surge protection, and this does offer surge protection in addition to cleaning your power. Second, I just thought that, you know, I wasn't sure if they did enough to really make a difference, you know, a noticeable difference. And doing the different experiments I did in the test, I found out it does make a difference. This unit alone seems to cut the background sounds that are getting through my monster power supply. It seems to be cutting them in half. And like I said, in a couple weeks I'm going to do my full review of the EquiCore 600, which stacked with this, on top of this, plugging this into the wall, then the EquiCore into the DeepCore 1800, and then my equipment into that, seems to do an outstanding job of cleaning up the power. So I'm going to do a review of that in a couple weeks and give you some more details on that. And in the meantime, I guess I'm going to wrap this up. It's getting pretty long, so I thank you for watching my video. Once again, this is William from the Headphone Experience. If this video has helped you, please give me a thumbs up. You're all welcome to join us over at the Headphone Experience on Facebook. I think we're somewhere near 9,500 members now, so I'd like to see you all over there. And once again, thanks for watching my video.